Right now, we're going to get more on this with Congressman MacCallum, a Republican from Texas, who serves on the House Oversight Committee. Congressman, thank you very much for joining us. So 12,000 Haitian migrants who were in Del Rio, Texas, were released into the U.S., and that number could be higher as 5,000 migrants are still being processed. Do you feel confident that the Biden administration, the immigration system, can keep an accurate account on where in the U.S. the migrants will be placed? And do you feel confident that all of the migrants will return to court for official processing?
There's nothing that would cause us to have that sort of confidence, nothing historically that has had that sort of confidence. You know, when they say they're being processed and they'll come before a judge, they're given a slip of paper many times, and even the majority of times we never see or hear from them again. And so that idea is just more of this political posturing. You know, the Biden administration seems more focused on managing the PR than actually dealing with the quote, root causes of the situation that the borders was so zealous about taking trips across the world to find. Everybody here in South Texas knows what the root causes is, and it's this administration who's content to kind of say, oh, no, we don't want you to come, and then wink and invite everybody to come and encourage them and put in policies that encourage everyone to come and to aid
and what do we do
the
about that,
that,
Congressman? What do we do about that?
Well, we have to continue to keep telling the story here. You know, I've gone to the border a number of times. Thankfully, we do have a couple media outlets who are willing to show what's going on. But again, you see the media every time we put up a drone, they squash that. You know, and they were really concerned about this because people could see it. It was out in the open. You know, but that says nothing of the thousands of people that are in facilities across our southern border. It says nothing about what's continuing to happen on a day-to-day basis. It says nothing about.
And I understand that. Congressman, forgive me, I want to move this along because I got a short time to speak with you about a lot of stuff here. But you're talking about those images, and we all saw them. They were really disturbing images, really, you know, across the board. You don't want people flooding into our border, you know, when they're, you know, I guess illegally, if they're not processed properly. And we certainly don't want a humanitarian crisis as well. We don't want those people living in squalor under the bridge. So, but that said, right? But that said, you know, you talked about the drone images that's shown to depict the problem. That area, the encampment under the bridge, has been since cleared. But we show the pictures here. How does the message get back to the migrants before they make that trek towards the border?
Well, we need an administration who's going to stand up and be bold about it. And, you know, the whole Haitian migration started when the Biden administration put out a message, basically, that we're not going to send them back. So naturally, people started coming. We need an administration who's going to stand up and be bold about securing the border. And the thing is to understand is that we're aiding and abetting cartels who are driving this crisis. This isn't an organic effort. This is cartels profiting hundreds of millions of dollars a month on our southern border. They have a corrupting influence throughout Central and South America to these developing nations, and they're beginning to have a strong foothold here in the United States of America and to create destabilizing forces in different communities. And so that's the kind of geopolitical construct that this humanitarian crisis is within. And so this is very important that we deal with this and realize that we're doing no favors to the lives of these people who are being abused by these cartels along the journey, many of them being put into modern-day slavery. And this is just tragic that we have an administration allowing this to continue.
Congressman, the administration will say that they're doing something about it. I only say that because they're not here. In fairness, I just have to say that because that's what they are claiming. I'm sure they believe that. I want to mention that Texas does have a new law to, as quoting Governor Abbott here, this law makes it easier to arrest and prosecute human smugglers. This law also increases criminal penalties for human smuggling, especially when payment is involved in that process. So that's what they are trying to do with that. You know, listen, I wonder if the political system is too dysfunctional for us to fix the dysfunctional situation at the border. Do you think?
I don't think it has to be. This has been a bipartisan issue in the past. We were building border infrastructure throughout Republican and Democratic administrations in the past. Unfortunately, this administration has decided to embrace lawlessness on a bunch of fronts, and the border being one of them. Texas is standing up, and it does help. I can tell you story after story, the difference between people being arrested by Texas DPS versus our federal authorities, and the difference it makes in Texas and being able to enforce the law. And so us having strong laws in Texas will help the situation. I remember one story of a human smuggler who ran a checkpoint, for example, and they decided it would be more effective to prosecute them on the traffic violations that person meant than hand them over to federal authorities for the human smuggling, just because of the lack of enforcement there. So Texas stepping up does help.
Where the bureaucracy involved.
Exactly.
You are the House on the House Oversight Committee. They're rushing me, but I have to ask you this. Are you working with the Biden administration, based on your experience, to try to fix this problem, a short-term fix and then a long-term solution? Are you working together on this?
We continue to bring issues we continue to write letters to the administration that are summarily just ignored. We called for hearings. We had a number of hearings on the border.
Face to face? That's when things work, when people look at each other in the eyes, get together and make it happen. What about face to face meetings? Can you? Yeah.
We talk with a number of reps across the aisle who are, a couple of them are willing to deal with this issue, but many of them are just continuing to embrace the lawless socialist push that Nancy Pelosi continues to push through the House. And so it makes it very difficult to deal with situations in the current environment, for sure.
Well, Congressman Michael Cloud, I have to go. We don't have Speaker Pelosi here, so you said that. She doesn't get a chance to rebut what you said, but your record stands because you're here. And we appreciate you joining us. Thank you very much.
Sure. Thank you.
Thank you.